Hi guys, I'm Shmi. Hello and welcome back to the channel where today we have something very special to take a look at. I'm here at Topaz Detailing and this is the first customer Aston Martin Valkyrie that has been here for Topaz PPF, and the owner of this car has very kindly invited me to come and share it with you to take a close look at details on the ultimate hypercar in a way I've never seen before. In fact, I've actually got the key to the car right here. Never even seen that. We're going to be taking a look. We're going to be hearing it. There's a bit of a procedure, but we're going to be taking a listen. I'm going to be jumping inside to check it out in detail. This is really quite exciting. This is the Aston Martin Valkyrie, the customer road car spec. I've been lucky to ride onboard factory prototypes, to even go on board the prototype of the AMR Pro race car, but we're now ready for customer cars of arguably the greatest car that has ever been produced to date. So let's check this out. The Aston Martin Valkyrie. If you're not familiar with the Aston Martin Valkyrie, you've probably been living under a rock. The level of engineering in this car is out of this world. It is possibly the fastest car that is ever going to be made that can wear a number plate. And talking number plates, what a plate this is. VLK1 on the Aston Martin Valkyrie, very, very suitable. This is one of the 150 road cars. There are also the 85 Spiders and the 40 race cars, the AMR Pros for the ultimate in track hypercar experience, out of this world. But this gets very close to that in a car with over 1,000 horsepower, not so much more weight, nearly 2,000 kilos of downforce. The numbers are just mind-boggling. But today we're going to take a look a bit more under the skin. Like I said, I've never previously seen the key for it. I've never had a look at the production interior, opening up some of the flaps, even the fuel filler flap, checking out the engine bay compartment, some of the other details and things that I've taken in just being in the presence of this thing. And I tell you what, check out the Aero. The amount of craziness going on with this. I think a lot of customers are going to choose more subdued color schemes, darker colors, which tend to hide the out there madness of the whole thing. So a full respect to the owner of this car for going for the wild Sunburst Yellow with the red and silver accents, and plenty more that we can check out as we explore around it. There's a lot to this. So let's start going through it and exploring the production spec of the Aston Martin Valkyrie. This car is just mesmerizing. Every time I see the Valkyrie, I spot things on it that I hadn't noticed before. There is so much to it, and every single element is optimized, whether that's for saving weight or maximum performance. For example, a quick run around, the double layer to the wing back here, the central exhaust tips up there, these massive diffuser tunnels, the style of the tail lamps, the positioning of the brake calipers, all of the negative space. Have a look in here from the side. You can see straight through the car and your feet are somewhere in there. The mirrors are replaced with cameras which feed through to the screens on board that we'll see shortly. All of these cutaways and openings to see the different components that are part of it. The low nose with this unusual badge that basically saves the weight but keeps the distinctive Aston Martin wings. The splitter that hangs down from the front like on a Formula One car. As I said, there's so much to run through. I hadn't before today seen the key. So let's start with the key itself, which comes in this little pouch. You've got the lock and unlock. You've got the Valkyrie logo on the other side in this carbon style leather. I'm going to squeeze out the key from here to show it to you directly out of the case. Kind of awkward to do one-handed. Let me show you what we have with this. The buttons on that side, just plain on the other side, and the Aston Martin wings that you have up on the top. As you unlock the car, it double blinks the headlights, a lock and you hear the clunk of the door mechanisms, and a single blink, unlock again, and we get the double. Inside those truly insane headlamps, look at the large carbon weave, look at the different lenses, look at the gold elements that you have as well. Obviously the latest technology for every single element like that, but also the lightest possible technology that they can use for anything of that nature. Around the front, the multiple layers to this, the way this splitter is mounted with all the louvers and all of the brackets. Obviously the full body is carbon fiber to keep the weight down. Even the number plate plinth here is carbon fiber, and yes, arguably it'd look better without one, but the law is the law. You do have to run one, and this is such a special number plate for this particular car. All of these shapes and obviously the pinstripe details painted on over the top. This lightweight badge, by the way, being underneath the lacquer, means that they can shave away pretty much any weight. In fact, it weighs next to nothing, but keeps that distinct badge obviously on the nose of the car. As we look up, you've even got that carbon fiber central windscreen wiper, which obviously runs from side to side, a single one, again, helping with weight. Everything, as you'll notice, is all about the weight of this thing. As we come round up front, massive carbon ceramic brakes, huge calipers tucked in there as well, with the wheels, with the centre lock, and Sport Cup 2 tyres. Interestingly, N2 tyres, which are the Porsche designation, so supplied with the Porsche tyres as opposed to a Valkyrie specific, but presumably that's been tested and calculated to be the optimum for all of this. As we look down the side again, like up front, you can see straight through, you can pretty much see the entirety of the gigantic rear tyre back there, with the cutaways again through this side panel, meeting both regulations and legislation, but also maximising that performance. As I mentioned back here, the unusual thing, having the brake caliper down towards the bottom. Typically it'd be mounted towards the sides, either left or right, but not normally down at the bottom, which presumably is about keeping centre of gravity low, but also to do with cooling. And look at how tiny these panel gaps are, in the arches that you have between the rear arch and the top of the tyre back there to keep the car as low as it possibly can be. Back here, these tail lamps are quite the unusual design, and in fact, if I quickly grab the key again, just unlock this so you can see them blinking away and just see exactly what that looks like. Unlock the car, lock it again, just get a quick look at that. And again, all of the openings, how much you can see, basically straight through to everything here. No meshes or anything like that, nothing that adds weight, just openings through to the different components and elements of the car. And these massive tunnels, a person could lie in here. This tunnel is longer than I am tall and runs all the way through, right out and under the front of the car, accelerating airflow underneath it to help keep this car as planted and as fast as it can be. It's plugged onto a smart charger back here with a magnetic socket to make sure it stays charged up. Then you also have the reverse light in that really cool style right at the very back, beneath the number plate, beneath those exhaust tailpipes. But I do want to start opening up various elements of this. And the first thing you might be wondering about is, how do you even open the cabin? You have the Gullwing doors, but there are no door handles. There's nothing to speak of. And there is actually a button that lurks just under here somewhere that you press. There it is, right there, hard to see in fact. Press that, it pops, and then this is where you lift up the Gullwing door, which weighs nothing. This is so light, and it reveals that incredible cabin, finished with the yellow contrast stitch on these seat pads. The seat is literally part of the carbon fibre tub, with all the red details like the headrest embroidery and the seat belt harnesses themselves, which again match with the exterior. We've got the plaque just here, VIN 070 of the 150 Valkyrie Coupes, but I want to come round to open up the driver's side as well. Again here, hit the button if I can find that quickly. There we go, little bit of familiarity required. Open the doors, and this is where you are greeted with this fabulous view. The steering wheel, we'll talk all about the screens and the displays. As you can see, we've got the screen with the camera just here as well that we'll look at in just a moment. But this is something else. So another area you might be wondering about, if I pop here, the fuel filler cap. There we go, pop that open. You don't have the best access there. Recommended 99 RON, E10 ethanol maximum, 95 RON minimum. So you could run it on our regular 95 here, which is interesting. That is equivalent to, is it 89 or 91 in the US? Different octane scales. And obviously your tyre pressures, standard would be 2.2 bar or 32 PSI, both front and rear is your standard for this one. I want to pop open the engine bay cover, which is over on this side. So let me come round. It is, in fact, just here. Give a pull of that. This opens up. I want to carefully maneuver it, and you can see on the top you've again got cameras to help you with the view backwards, but all carbon fibre, with the intake snorkel finished with the silver and red pinstripe detail, the red over the top of that piece as well, just all tying in together. This also is very, very light. Back here is where you get a great view of some of the components of this powertrain. The 6.5 litre Cosworth V12 that produces 1,000 horsepower, combined with the battery electric motor KERS system with an additional 160 horsepower for 1,160 in a car that only weighs just over 1,200 kilos. It's interesting to see how compact everything is in here, squeezed into the tiniest possible space. Those air filters that are literally exposed on the very top, and all of that large weave of the carbon fibre, and just a very special thing to to think about the packaging and how it's all in here. You do actually have this carbon strut brace just here, which you can open up and use to hold everything in place. And I want to show you also this underside, also of course carbon fiber, but just the way the airflow is managed and piped through all of that. To close it, you drop it down, drop it into place. Might have to give it a little press. There we go, click that down, back into place just there, and just continue exploring this thing. There's no easy way to step into the Aston Martin Valkyrie. You have the very high sills, a pretty narrow opening, and obviously you can't just swing your legs through. You have to basically stand on the seat to actually enter this. But to make it a little bit easier, you do have the quick release steering wheel, so you can pull on the clasp, pop that off, and well, it's a very special thing in its own right. We'll have a better look at that in just a moment. I will put it, for the time being, onto the passenger seat so that it's out the way. I will also pop off my shoes because I'm not going to climb into here with shoes on. And this is how you do it. You, I think, step your legs in, maybe you sit on the sill. It's not yet been PPF'd, of course, it's just arrived here. So very, very carefully does this. And you lower yourself in, and my word, are you snug in here? Super snug, super, super snug. And then pop the steering wheel back in place, which actually has quite a convenient mechanism. It's different to normal race mechanisms because it only pulls to pull it off, and then you don't have to pull it to click it back on. It just slides in and clicks, and then it's secured. Woo-hoo-hoo. This is crazy. Now though, a better look around the interior. You have your air conditioning vents, your central infotainment screen, your obviously screens that show you the camera view, the look outside. This is just something out of this world. One press of the ignition actually wakes up the power of the car. I can hear things running and happening just behind me. The screen starts to wake up. There is a little bit of a procedure to this process, in fact. You can see as well, we've got a USB port, we've got the handbrake release here, your hazards, your front windshield, your fog lamp, all the things obviously that you need. If we press start again, it actually will then do the accessory ignition, stage 2. Oh, have a look at this. The dashboard showing us the rev counter up to 9,000 in the standard setup. It revs to 11,100 RPM. Your central infotainment, I've never looked at this system. I've never been through all of this. Obviously the car is just parked here. We've got the different displays, vehicle settings. This is fascinating. Range, fuel consumption, obviously your normal elements as you'd expect to see, your media, your full settings, your light controls are actually here on the bottom of the display, the air conditioning as well. But I'm going to press my foot on the brake and press the magic button so that we can take a listen to this. The magic start button of the V12 in the Aston Martin Valkyrie. Let's do this. One press, then we wait, because the electric motor fires, well, electric motor starts, and then it fires the V12. Let's give this a go. That's an unusual start procedure. That is a very, very unusual start procedure. And I'm now in an Aston Martin Valkyrie with the engine running, and it is loud. It is very, very loud. Can you imagine driving in this? And what's quite interesting actually on the display is to see how the rev counter rises. Obviously that's where it's limited to with the current heat. Get a bit more heat in it and that will go up more. Whoa, wow. Okay, we've got to get this up a little bit more, charge the battery a touch. This is... I'm sitting in a Valkyrie with the engine running. Even not to go anywhere and not to do anything. This has my mind blown. Absolutely mind blown. I'm going to turn it off. And we're back to silence. Whoa. You even hear just all those whines and noises behind you. Just everything behind you from it. My word, and obviously just look around here, look at all the carbon and everything behind me. Look at all the carbon over the top, a single little small light up there. There's a fire suppression system, in fact, as well, just up. I'm not sure if we can see this properly, but just here. Obviously, don't press that unless you have an emergency. The mirror is currently on as a mirror, but basically it's a, obviously, electronic digital screen, should you have the engine actually running. Right now, it's just a mirror, which isn't particularly helpful. And then you have these grab handles to help close the door, stitched to match the front, just all carbon fiber everywhere. There's the chassis plaque behind the seat. The harnesses are directly bolted onto the bulkhead behind us as well. The engine is back there. Look how tiny this cabin is. The seats do have their own seat back. There are a few different options when speccing Valkyrie as to how exactly you'd want to do that. Obviously on here, you've got your shift paddles on the back, you've got your light settings, indicators, your lift system, your ESP modes, other toggles and switches, neutral, launch control, just there as well. I cannot believe this thing. Just sitting in here is an honor. Just sitting in this car is genuinely unreal. Completely unreal. Oh man, I remember when I sat in the back of the interior for the first time out at the Dubai Motor Show years and years ago, and just couldn't get my head around the fact that this is a road car. This is a road car with this little space. I mean, if I close down the door, grab that handle, you do actually have soft close, pull it gently, and then it latches itself. I feel like I'm in a Le Mans race car. I've got a tiny letterbox view in front of me, like literally a letterbox view. Look how narrow the side windows are. My word. My word. I can't believe this. And then the grab to open the doors, by the way, is tucked in behind the steering wheel, just down there, if you can see that. You give this a pull, and that's the release. And then use your elbow to basically push it up and out the way. Just get some airflow, because it's pretty warm, as you can imagine, being here effectively out of hours, but with a bit of detailing going on upstairs, as you might be able to hear. Look down there, look into the footwell. It just extends down. Obviously your ankles are above your bottom, your ankles are above your bum, literally. You can see the raw carbon, no wasted materials, finishing that off looking pretty when it's just down there in a footwell, but a tiny space. The passenger's knees sit just under the bulkhead here, and obviously your feet can't exactly go all that far down as well. This is just, I don't even know, this is just something else. This is unlike any other car on the road. There we go, it's just stopped all of its noises and things. This is unlike anything else. I'm going to do something that might be quite a bad idea and try and get out on camera, but before we do that, remove the steering wheel. So again, the quick release for the clasp, pop that off, and this is where I question how you're supposed to do this. I think probably sit up on here and obviously put multiple layers of PPF on here, and we'll talk about that whole process in a moment. Yeah, let's try this. Bear with me. Step back on the seat, sit up on here, swing legs out. It could be worse. I didn't do too badly. I didn't do too badly at all. Yeah, oh, there's a chassis plaque on both sides. I hadn't mentioned that. So on this side as well. That's one of the beauties of PPF, of being able to do this kind of surface rather than just the outside, because that's quite vulnerable with belt buckles, or sorry, buttons and things. Soft close and down. I haven't shown you the last things about the inside. If I just pop open the door again, pop that. Inside here, if you want to adjust your seating position, you cannot obviously move the seat. That is totally fixed in place. But underneath the steering column, you will find two levers. The first here is to adjust the steering column. The second is just here, which is to release the pedal box, which you can shuffle forwards and backwards. So you can see down there, obviously, two pedals. You've got the 7-speed automated sequential gearbox, but you can shuffle that away from you or towards you to make it slightly more comfortable and fit your seating position as needs require. But even look at this. Look at these cutouts. I think even these will be to do with weight saving on the inner skin of the carbon fibre door. Why have the weight there if you don't need it? Everything as light as it possibly can be. The extent that they have gone to shave every single gram out of the Aston Martin Valkyrie is just mind-boggling. It's crazy to think back that I was actually at the original unveiling of the concept of what is now here. 6 years ago, at the Aston Martin factory in Gaydon in Warwickshire, when they pulled the covers back on what had been codenamed Project Nebula, became the AMR 001, the collaboration between Aston Martin and Red Bull, engineering with Adrian Newey, design with Marek Reichman, and now, of course, following the V naming system, the Valkyrie that we have in front of us. One of the 150 coupes with the 85 Spiders and the 40 AMR Pros, a few more than were originally intended. It was supposed to be 150 of all derivatives, including prototypes and race cars. It's obviously become a figure closer to 300, but that is down to the success, obviously, of the project, of the customer demand to purchase one of these, because arguably engineering can't go beyond this, considering the legislation that's in front of us, the move towards EV, towards electric cars. Will anybody ever again make a car that can go this fast and wear a number plate? That's key here, and that is the most insane thing about this to me, that this car has a number plate on it. You can drive that on the road. It wouldn't look out of place at a race grid of LMP1 cars, and it's a road car with a number plate. It's insane. Now, I understand there are a few technical things with the car still being worked on before they can be used to their maximum potential in terms of software, in terms of other things with them that customers have fed back as well. And hopefully those can all be resolved ASAP, because I think we all want to see these driven in anger, hopefully out on race circuits, hopefully decimating lap times in a road car, and that's going to be super exciting. There's also the track package, so when you purchase it, you can put, I think, another £500,000 towards your order to have the additional track bodywork, which is not road legal, lowers the ride height, gets even more aggressive in terms of the visual side of things, and obviously the aerodynamic side of things for more downforce, and that's going to be even crazier. But this is Valkyrie in its road spec here at Topaz, ready for detailing, ready for PPF. And the mad thing with a car like this is that it's so sensitive with the aerodynamics and the extremes of everything that they actually have to be careful with the paint protection film of where exactly it goes. And that's why Topaz do a lot of work with templating, with working directly with the manufacturer as well, to make sure that every area is optimized to protect obviously all of the vulnerable areas towards the front, all of the aero areas, because just think of the number of stones that are going to be pinging up through the bodywork in all different places around the diffuser, and obviously areas, as I mentioned, like on the door sills that you have just here. And it is a little bit of a fiddle to work out where those door releases are, but to protect shapes like this with all of the curves, to make sure that these don't get very quickly bashed up by passengers and the driver climbing in and out of it. I know that the owner of this car is going to drive it, is going to use it, and that's going to be really cool. I think we might be able to see more of it quite soon as well. For now though, a big thanks to both Topaz for allowing me to come and have a look at this and share it with you, and obviously to the owner of the car, a congratulations and a thank you as well, because even just sitting and starting this thing up is special, is very, very special. That's it for now though. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I look forward to sharing more with you featuring the Aston Martin Valkyrie in the not too distant future, so make sure you're subscribed for that. That's it for now though. I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Cheers.